Hey everyone, so today let's make a 30-inch by 20-inch marquee numbers. So I'm going to do the year 2022. And so first thing you want to do is start off by making your template in this program. I'm using Silhouette Studio. So since we already know what size foam board we have, which I have this Elmer's foam board that I got from Walmart. And it's a little bit sturdier. Well, it's a lot bit sturdier than the one from the Dollar Tree. So that's why I use this one from Walmart. And since we know it's a 30 by 20, we can go ahead and go over to our drawing tool on the left side to our rectangle. Click and drag. And the easy way to go ahead and get your dimensions correct is to go to our modify panel. Well, transform panel. And hit scale, and you go down here to width and height. So we know we want to be at least 30 inches high, and then the width we want it to be 20. And that, hold on, zoom out. That is the size of our foam board. So that's going to start our template. So now I'm going to go to our text tool. Type in the number 2, and I'm going to resize it. And I don't want this font, so to find your fonts, you would go to the right side to your font panel, text style panel. And I'm going to use, what's it called? I think it's called Akbar. Yes. I'm going to use this font because it's like has nothing but square edges. That'll help it stand up once we're done. So I'm going to take this and drag it out to the size that I want it. Inside within our template. And you see that it's already almost touching the sides. I'm going to just use this up square here and drag it up. And drag this down till I get it the size that I want it. Just to make sure that your number fits into your template. So that way you know you have room to trace it on your foam board and to cut it out. So we have a little bit of space on each side. And you can make this whatever size you would like. And I'm going to go ahead and double click on this just to put the number 0. Ooh. 0. That way we have it the same size. Close to the same size. I'm going to right click and I'm going to ungroup these. And you see how it fits the bottom right here? That's because when you ungroup, they're now separate numbers, sorry. Separate numbers, and it's converted to path. So you no longer have that extra space which gives you an incorrect measurement. You now have it exactly around your image or your number. So it went from, let's hit back. Crap. You see how it's all the way down here for the numbers? It's all the way down there, the dimension. We don't want that. So that's when you hit right click. You can either hit convert to path or you can hit ungroup. So I'm going to hit ungroup. And now we have two separate numbers. So since we're doing 2022, all I need is the number 2 and the number 0. And I can continue to use this template for the 22 part. All right, so we have it the size that we want. And now we want to break this up into pieces. And this again will be what we use, or the size paper is what we use to cut out our number 2 in pieces. All right, so the way that I do it is, instead of trying to get it exactly the size that I want it here, I'm going to go over to my right side to transform and scale, and then hit 11 by 17. Which one is it? 11 by 17. So now we have our sheet size, and that's the size sheet that I'm going to use to cut out this number 2. So now that we have our 2 already in this 30 by 20, we already sized that. We can move this to the side and take our 11 by 17 sheet of paper and place it where we would like to. And I'm going to do it right here. So that way you see this part will be what's cut. And actually, let's click on that, hit object, replicate to the right, and let's see what we have if it's all the way in there. And we still have it, some that's part of that too that's not in there. So I'm going to highlight both of those rectangles, hold down shift, hit my right arrow just to take it over and see what we have. I don't like how that little, you gotta see what's going to be inside your space. So I don't want this little small rectangle here in this 11 by 17 sheet. So I'm going to highlight both of these, hit my up arrow again just to place it where I want it, and then I'm going to highlight both again, go to object, replicate, duplicate below. Now what will be in our 2 square rectangles here, 11 by 17 sheet, is this on this side and all of this on this side. Okay, so now since how many ever sheets that you have, which we have 4 11 by 17 sheets, that's how many times you want to duplicate it. Now I know there's probably different ways of doing it, which there's different ways of doing everything, but this is how I do it. So that's how many times you want to duplicate your image along with your sheets of paper. So I have everything highlighted. Go to object, replicate, duplicate to the left. I'm going to highlight all of this, replicate, object, replicate, and duplicate to the below. So now we have 4 sheets and 4 images. Now we're going to cut it out, highlight the 11 by 17 as well as the number 2. I'm going to go to modify and hit crop. So now we have this part of the 2. Okay, now we can delete these excess sheets that we don't need off of that one. So we already did the first sheet, now we can do the second one. Click and drag, hit crop. We have the second part of that too. And delete all of these. Now we can go move on to the bottom, click and drag that sheet and the 2, crop. We have that will fit there. And now on the last side, delete the rest. This will go right here. That will line up just like that. Got it? So now these are the 4 pieces that we are going to cut out on our 2. I won't do the number 0, so the video won't be that long, but I'll walk through the process with the number 2. So now we have to, let's zoom in into our workspace. So we need our mat to be, see, cutting mat right here, 12 by 24. And then we want our paper size to be 11 by 17. All right, you see how it changed? Zoom out so we can kind of see our number 2 in here. So now we're just going to place this within this space right here. And we're going to put our 11 by 17 sheet on our cutting mat to get ready for our silhouette to cut. I was almost about to say Cricut. I don't use Cricut. But we can go ahead and get this ready to cut. And we will do this, all 4 pieces like that. So once we put that on there, we will put the next piece and cut and so forth till we have all 4 pieces cut out. All right, so side note, I always number my pieces so that way when I put it back into position, I know what piece goes first, and I do from left to right, just like you read left to right. And once I cut it out, I also write the numbers on those same parts as well. And I also wanted to show you that on the letter O or letter 0, it has like a curved edge, and I want it to sit flat on the floor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my rectangle tool, and I'm just going to make a rectangle. And it's up to your discretion on how much of a flat edge that you want on your circle. So I'm going to do it right there. That's good enough for me. I'm going to click and drag both the circle and the rectangle. I'm going to align it. I'm going to my transform and align center so that I know that it's even. And then I'm going to go to my modify panel. And because I want to subtract this piece, anytime you want to subtract, you want to, let's see, how should I put this? Anytime you want to take away from something, you're subtracting it. So I want to take away from this 0. So I'm going to click and drag both the 0 and the rectangle and hit subtract. So now you see that the bottom piece is gone. And it's no longer the same size as our 30-inch height. So I'm going to just click and hold down shift and hit it down till it gets to the bottom. I'm going to hold, click and drag this so it can be as close to 30 inches as possible. Bring it down just a little bit so that way I can have room on the bottom to trace as well as the top. Let's zoom in, and you can do this by clicking this button here, hitting the zoom in button at the top, or you can hit this and you can click and drag to zoom into your area to see more closely. So there we have room still at the bottom and some at the top. Okay, so that's just a little note on how to get your letters to stand up flat on the ground when we're done. So since I have all of my numbers cut out, we're going to go ahead and tape our pieces together, and then we will go into putting the lights on. All right, so we have all of our pieces cut out, and as you can see, I have them numbered according to what I had on my computer screen. So this is number 1, and I'm going to line up number 1 and number 2 together. Make sure I have it in focus. All right, so it's lined up. Now we need just our tape. It doesn't matter what kind of tape you use, just tape it together. All right, got that line hooked up. Just tape it all the way to the top. Try to cover that entire line if you can. So that's the top part of the 2. So now I'm gonna get, I have 1 and 2 put together. So now this is number 3, and I'm gonna line it up to number 2. No, I'm sorry, from left to right. So I'm gonna put that in place right here, and I'm gonna take 3 and 4 together before I add it to number 1 and 2. So we have our 2 pieces, and I'm just going to line it up at the bottom to make sure they match, and I'm going to tape. Toss it across the room. All right, so just tape it all the way up like you did the other part. Okay, so once we have that taped up, now we can add our bottom part of our 2 to the top part. know I'm out of focus, but let's see. I can see that. See, I'm connecting it right here. All right, almost done. All right, so now we have our 2 cut out, taped together, and of course it wants to act crazy and wobbly. But now we have that cut out so we can put it on our foam board. So I have my foam board right here, and I'm going to place this on top of the 2 on top of my foam board. And usually I like to line it up with the bottom of the foam board. That way that's one less line that I have to cut. And you just want to place something heavy on top so that it won't shift. And I don't, oh, and now we are going to trace around our number 2 onto our foam board. Best to use a pencil. That way, if you need to erase something, it's much more easier to get rid of the line than it is with the ink pen mark. Oops. And I can't reach around it. So I'm going to show you when I'm done tracing the whole thing. Number 2 is all traced out. So we're going to cut it out. And what I use to cut it out, you can use an X-Acto knife, or you can use this cutter. It's a straight bevel cutter by Foamworks. You can find it on Amazon. That's where I got mine, or I've seen it in Hobby Lobby as well. So we're going to just go ahead and cut it out. It just gives you a straight cut to me because it has this flat edge, so that way it's up against your foam board and you don't have to worry about if you're straight or not until you get to the edge where you don't have any more leverage. So you just stick it in and then you just cut a straight line. If you want to use a ruler to get a more accurate cut, you can. But I'm just gonna cut it out like this. Trying to stay on the line. I must have missed something. All right, got that piece cut out. And just go all the way around the edge, cut your number 2 out. Now that we have our number 2 cut out, we want to cut out the edges, the framing for this number 2. So what I use is I use poster board this time. So for the number 2, I actually use foam board, but for the covering, I'm going to use poster board. And let's see, I'm not quite sure how many it will take to go around the edge, around the whole number 2, but I'm going to cut maybe like 4 or 5. And I want to cut strips, long strips of 3 inches wide. 3 inches wide in the length of this poster board. So I already have some kind of cut that I've used for previous projects. So I'm going to cut this 3 inches wide. You might can't see it. Let me try to get in the camera some. And I have a metal yardstick that I'm going to use to line up, make sure it's straight. And I can't see it that way, so I'm going to turn it this way. Hopefully you guys can see that. Try not to get it to slide and stay in place while I line this up. All right, I got it lined up, and I'm going to take my rotary blade and cut all the way down. I have a rotary blade for when I cut paper, and I have one for when I cut fabric. That way my fabric one can stay sharp. So I can throw this away. So now we have our 3-inch strip. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out maybe 4 or 5 of these. And then we'll go on to gluing them to our number 2. I like to try to figure out where my seam is going to go, because this won't go all the way around the top of the 2. I don't like for it to be in the middle up top. So I don't think I want a seam in the middle, but let's see. I'm gonna line it up here and see how far it goes. So you see we have a complete, if we start from the edge, it won't be at the top in the middle. The seam must start somewhere towards the back. So now what I'm gonna do is put hot glue on this part of the 2 and then just place this around it. It's kind of hard to do it since the table is taller than me. I normally do this on a shorter table so that you can see what I'm doing. Just putting it on there. And make sure that you're on the right side of your 2. So I have to come this way. It's kind of hard to do it and try to record it at the same time. So you want to match up the edges of your poster board to the edge of your foam board. That took too long. The glue dried, so you might want to work in small parts. Okay, there. And just press it down, that way it's fully closed in the inside. And you'll have some glue coming out of the back. I'm used to just after it cools off a little bit, just scraping it off with the fingers. But just make sure that it dries well, connecting each other. And again, you want to just glue all the way around so that way we have our casing for our tube. Strip is on, and now it's time to join these two. And so we're going to do that by overlapping this one that's already on. We're going to put this new one underneath it. And we're going to like overlap it maybe about half an inch, whatever you feel comfortable with. So I'm going to put just a little bit of glue right here just to start it off, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue underneath, and then I'm going to put a line of glue right here so that way I can glue this, attach these two. Trying not to get glue on my table. Like I said, it's a little harder trying to do it and show you guys at the same time. It's much easier, and it goes much faster when you have it on a lower table. So I'm going to add my glue right here on the edge so that I can connect them. Try to make sure it's straight. And I got a little bit of glue oozing out the back, but that's okay, just wipe it off. All right, so now that they're connected, you just continue doing the same thing as if it was the first strip. Just put your glue on the outside edge, right here, right there, and keep attaching it around. And when you get to the end of this one, you do the same thing. You just overlap it, glue it together, overlap it, glue it together, and just add, just keep going and add as you need. This is what we got, our number 2. And I am going to make like a little stand for the back of it so that it can stand straight up in place. But I won't do that on video. So now that we have our casing for our 2, I bought these lights off of Amazon. These little bulbs go in there. So what I did was I measured, I think it's 50 bulbs, on there, and what I did was I measured, kind of guesstimated, the size of the circle right here, so I can poke these through. And I did a circle of 0.75 just as my template, so I'm going to put it here. And I'm going to try to like spread it out as even as possible. I'm going to put 10 lights per letter. Okay. So here I am just measuring it basically so I can have it even on both sides. So I'll place it probably about right here, 3.5 inches over. And then I'll probably place another one here. And then just space out the 2 in the middle. 2 more in the middle. Yeah. Or maybe I'll do 3, kind of eyeballing it and placing it in the middle. And I'm going to trace where I think is the center. And so what did I do? 3? So I'm going to do 3 on this side. Kind of like place it down. All right, that looks like about 3 on this side as well. Ooh. Hopefully these things are straight. I can't tell, but you know. I'm kind of perfectionist too at the same time. So about 3 from the bottom. Nope. I won't be able to tell like that either. But just figure out your way of seeing how to get it straight in the middle. Because this right now is what I'm doing. Just guesstimating. Okay. Looks good to me. And if you have any suggestions on how I can get these circles straighter, just let me know. And I will be glad to try it out. Alright, so now I want to put one maybe here. Let's see how much space we have in the middle. Well, I gotta be anal about this. So if I put it here, that's 4 inches. And then another one I go here. Nope. Slide it over some. 3.5. Another one here. I think I'll do it like that. Put my ruler in the inside just to try to keep the circles kind of lined up some type of way. So right here. Oops. I'm tracing my circle so that way I know where to cut out at. Then I'm going to do 3.5. Spread out. Where is it? Okay, about there. So I have 4 circles so far, so I need 6 more. I think that's how I want it. So I might have, nope, maybe I'll do a little more closer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe, we'll see. But yeah, just space out your circles like as you see fit to where you want them. I don't know if you can see my tracing. Oops. But you can see that. And you want to just go all the way around in the inside of your 2. Now where did my template go? Oh. Yeah, you want to go all the way around in your 2 and get your circles, and that way we can cut them out. Cutting out my circles now. And it doesn't have to be too pretty, because your light bulbs will go here. Well, there might be an easy way for this too, but use what you have. I'm scared I might. Just slice it in the wrong spots. I'm just checking to see if it went through the bottom. I just want to push it through, but I don't want to mess it up. Come on. Should have had a big hole punch where we can do these circles. I'm just gonna flip it on the back and try to trace where I think I cut at on the front, because you can kind of see an indent on the back from where the sharp edge was. So just poke that hole out. Let's see if it fits. Oops. Seeing all my mess. Let's see if it fits. And it fits pretty good too. Right. Pretty much like that. And the screw part will hold it in. Let's see if I can get it to screw on. Why was I screwing the back instead of screwing the light bulb? Making it harder for myself. But so far, this is what we have. And then once you get all your holes cut out, then you will just place your light bulbs in all the way around. And you want to keep in mind that, let me put my light bulb back so I don't break it. You want to keep in mind that you want to join, since it's so many light bulbs on one string, you want to, I guess, start up top with the string of lights and go all the way around to the bottom. That way, when you get to this side, you can connect it to, from the back, to your other lights or other number, letter, whatever. So I think that is pretty much it. Try to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. We already cut out the holes, drew the holes, spaced them out. And I think I spaced them out each 5 inches right here around this letter number. And at the bottom, I did 3.5, spaced it out. So you do it to your liking according to how many lights you want on inside of your number. I think that's it. If I forgot anything, or if you have any questions and you think of something, just ask. And I'll post a picture of the finished product. All right, bye.